This week, we talk about Pridefest, AI content detection, I get a new job again, and we'll have Mike Vale on to talk about voice acting and cabin tales. Since our last episode, NASA released a public statement apologizing for faking the Apollo moon landings that took place between the years 1969 and 1972. Begging the forgiveness of the American public, the space agency announced their intention to make it right by, quote, doing it for real this time. On the same day, a user named Totally Not NASA created a listing on castingcallclub.com, advertising the need for actors to play a bunch of astronauts, some kind of science dweeb who could build a rocket, and a mission control guy, maybe with a cool accent. Kelsey has auditioned for all three roles.
I won't get any of them. I heard Radiger audition for them too.
Yeah, she's probably going to get them.
I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Noli, the K is silent, and this is SCP Weekly.
What do we know? What have we been up to for the last 2 weeks?
I got a new job from what the intro said.
Ooh. What are you doing now?
I have left the food service industry and I'm now in the sales business, kind of.
So you actually left your restaurant job?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, like full on.
Have you started the new job yet?
I start tomorrow.
Ooh.
Yeah. It's a canvasser job with this home improvement company in town. You'd think that because it's in sales that most of my pay would just be based on commission, but weirdly enough, no. I get paid for this job, I get paid a base wage of $18 an hour for roughly about 45 hours a week. And we do get the opportunity for daily bonuses, so that, for those unaware, a canvasser is essentially a kind of door-to-door salesman. In this case, we're trying to get people to, interested in the company, interested in what we're selling. They don't even have to really buy. The sales reps that we would send them later on mainly has to deal with that. But all we have to do is get our foot in the door and just make them interested in being like, you know what? I will try to contact you guys. Maybe I will, take a few hours out of an afternoon so you get a free consultation for my house, see what's going on, and get a price range.
Lead generation. That's what you're doing. Yep. Lead generation.
And if we get at least 2 leads in one day, then we get an extra $75 for that day.
So what's the criteria for, do they have to actually call, or do they just have to say, yeah, contact me later, and that's it? That's enough.
I'm not exactly sure. They're going to go over that with orientation and training tomorrow. It might be to call, though I'm not entirely sure. So again, after to hit maybe 100 houses in a day, to get only 2 for an extra $75 for that day, that seems like fairly simple.
Yeah. And do you get more, if you get more than 2, or is it just if you get 2 you get $75 and that's it? Or
oh no, it's the daily bonus is essentially uncapped. The more leads that you get, the more your bonus goes up. Nice. There is a monthly bonus, and that is capped. The least you can get is an extra $400 at the end of the month, up to about $1,500 at the end of the month.
Nice,
but for daily bonuses, there are some people, they say, get 8, 9, 10 leads in a day, which I don't know, it's probably between $400 to $500 for that day.
You got some comfy walking shoes?
I've got some nice little slip-ons to walk in, comfy enough. Yeah.
Yeah, you might want to grab you a pair with that first big old fat paycheck. Get you some comfy walking shoes.
Yeah. For those unaware, St. George is a fucking nightmare in the summertime. The heat, like, what is it currently today? Let me look it up. Today, oh, it's a fairly cool day. Today we got a high of 99 degrees. Tomorrow, 98. Tuesday, 103. Wednesday, 105. Thursday, 103. Friday, 95. Which, considering the records that we've had for summers recently, you know, it could get as hot as like 120 degrees here. So,
jeez.
They have said that they're doing everything to try to compensate canvassers because, you know, from what they said, it's a mostly like canvasser driven company. Like, yeah, the sales reps and then the, you know, people we actually contract to, you know, improve the houses or build upon the houses. But they say that they mainly rely on the canvassers to actually get the foot in the doors. They really want to compensate us for, you know, all the work that we do, especially giving in the heat, saying that they give us like, you know, camel packs for our water, like ice vests that we wear to try to keep us cool. I did order a, what's it called? I don't know if there's like a specific name for it, but like those long sleeve, like athletic shirts, like you would see surfers wear, that basically like protects them from, you know, sun rays and all that. You know, just to, you know, make sure that my arms don't get blistering red and that I can actually stay cool while walking.
Yeah. Yep, and your ears too. Walking around in the sun, yeah.
Yeah.
Unless you wear that hat, which I doubt you would if it was 105.
Oh, I'm not wearing a fucking wool cap out in this heat. No. No, but no, I am actually grateful for this job because it actually pays decently compared to literally any other job I've had.
Yeah, didn't you say there were some benefits that come with it too?
Yeah, they offer you know, PTO. They offer health insurance, dental, I think vision. I'm not really sure. But yeah, like based from like what I try to calculate, like after taxes and all that taken out, just on base pay alone, I could be making about $1,300 a paycheck. So,
is that weekly or every 2 weeks?
Every 2 weeks.
Nice. That's, yeah, and stack benefits on top of that.
Yeah. And again, that's without like any daily bonuses on that. So that's the least I could probably make.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah. Like I could probably get myself fully out of debt by like September or October.
Get some. Love it. And you start tomorrow, like you start your work. When will you actually be street walking? Like when will you actually be?
Probably Tuesday. Yeah,
which is good
because the compression shirts, my tracker says that comes tomorrow, so hopefully it'll get here on time before I actually have to do any walking.
Yeah. Yeah, good luck to you, man. I know that I know the type of work that you'll be doing because those guys have come by my house, and almost universally, I don't want what they're selling, but I'll say they seem happy. So, man, hopefully this is up your alley and you enjoy it. I really hope.
I was originally going for like a supervisor position that they were opening up, like essentially like an assistant to the canvassing manager, which would have paid $19.50 an hour. You know, I went to the interview. They sadly, gave it to somebody else. However, that night, they called me back saying that, hey, I know we probably already told you that, the position was already given. However, we were so impressed by your professionalism and how well you carried yourself in the interview. We still want to give you a spot on the team. And stuff that's like still above like an average canvasser, because apparently canvassers actually make like $17 an hour, but
Nice.
they're also technically needing a like backup driver for, you know, to take the canvassers everywhere they need to go. So they said that, you know, if I'm able to do that, which I can because I have a license, then I would, you know, be paid a higher wage at 18 an hour and still essentially have all the benefits I would have gotten.
Hell yeah. Yeah, you might have dodged a bullet on that supervisory thing, because like an extra $1.50 an hour to be in charge and responsible for a bunch of knuckleheads, not worth it.
Probably.
Not worth it for an extra $1.50 an hour. Nope.
Yeah, probably.
Nope. Okay, my last 2 weeks. So school's out. Last week was the last day of school, so we did all of the last day of school for the kiddo. She's going to be starting high school this year. Oh, yeah.
Oh, you're getting old.
So very old. But I can take her along with me for the filming gigs over the summer, which we're both really looking forward to. And speaking of filming gigs, you know, I put out the Hey Guys on SCP Unredacted, and did the Peregrine finale. That's all done with. And so now I'm in the process of collecting props for, so script is written, and now I can say, because it's done, and it's in the screen adaptation phase, it was Nika, New Nika Cola Quantum, who I commissioned to write the scripts for the series that I'm working on, live action series that I'm working on. And I've got it. So we have this like Amish market here in town that's, you know, where they come in and they sell their food and their baked goods and their meats and things. But on the other side, there's this like flea market where I love going to flea markets and picking through and finding all of the weird stuff. So I'm going to show you some of the props that I've picked up at this flea market. And I'm not going to, you know, give away any of the plot or any of the stuff that I'm working on, but just to kind of give you an idea of some of the things that you'll be seeing. There's one of them. Try to keep this one quiet before you see it. There's that one. Here's one. And then this guy originally had hair, but the hair had to come off.
Ooh.
And then this one here, this isn't so much a prop. I guess there are SCPs that I could use this for as a prop, but what I'm really interested in is this stuff. And that's not so much for a prop, that is to build a monster. So think about it. And if anybody wants to make any guesses as to what props those, I mean, the cowbell obviously is going to be, I mean, you can't really get that one wrong. But if anybody has a guess as to what SCPs those props belong to, leave them in the comments. Tell us what you think. I'd love to see your
I
guesses.
have a guess on what the mask is going to be for.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think?
The Tattletale SCP.
Which one is the Tattletale?
Yeah. It's essentially, it's the SCP that's like kind of also a tale of Foundation agents trying to hunt down like an anomalous serial killer.
Nope.
Damn.
Nope. I'll tell you, that episode's going to have a lot of mirrors in it. Yeah, that's what I've got going on. Yeah, and a lot of filming gigs. I have, and I'm still waiting. Oh, I actually brought somebody in. I brought a hire in to Smooth Cadence Productions, so I have a second camera operator and a photographer on the crew now. So that's the next thing that I'm trying to do, is build a crew and get people involved in the creative projects. But yeah, I turned in 2 film projects for school this week. I have another 2 left to do. Yeah, and then on to my next set of classes with even more projects.
Nice.
It's exciting.
All right, let me get on to Pridefest.
Yep.
The SCP Wiki has a long history of positivity towards the LGBTQ community, having altered its logo in observation of Pride Month for the last 6 years. In addition to doing so again this year, the site has elected to hold a writing and art event called Pridefest, to which writers and artists are encouraged to create and post material relevant to the LGBTQ community. Unlike most similar events the Wiki has held, this is not a contest. There is no prize for getting the most upvotes, and writers are encouraged to simply have fun. Authors will have until the end of June to post their material.
It's not a contest.
It's not a contest. It's not a tumor.
There's been a couple of good ones so far. We're going to talk about some of those later in the new SCPs, but yeah.
Anyone who has seen one of the show's blotter segments knows that the alleged posting of AI-generated material is by far the most common reason for disciplinary action to be taken against site members. In the face of the seemingly endless tide of alleged AI-generated content that, despite Wiki rules, continues to be posted to the SCP Wiki, the formation of a team specifically tasked with identifying AI-generated content.
As part of the establishment of this team, the criteria by which they would judge whether material is AI generated would be explicitly laid out in policy. This would potentially reduce the role of subjective judgment and vibes in determining whether content is AI generated. A welcome change for many who have criticized staff's failure to clarify or codify exactly how this determination is made. Indeed, familiar concerns over the possibility that staff will falsely punish authors of human-written material have been raised again in response to this proposal. By staff's own admission, there's no way of conclusively, non-subjectively determining whether material is AI generated. It's clear from the discussion thread regarding this proposal that staff do take the possibility of false positives seriously. For instance, staff member Zubini said investigation should be comprehensive so as to avoid false positives, including analysis of the article work in question, comparisons to previous examples of works, both previous articles and sandboxes if applicable, and revision histories. Specific examples of AI generation in the article itself should be highlighted to the rest of the team.
Comments like the above have not set everyone at ease, however, and some users remain concerned that such a team could become overly eager in their identification of AI-generated content. Others have noted that articles believed to be AI-generated reliably get downvoted and removed by current policies, which calls into the question the need for additional measures to further mitigate a problem which, one might argue, is already under control.
That was the one concern that I had, was because when we go through the blotter and we pick out those segments for the, or pick out those posts for the segment, they put a sample of, hey, here's the text that made us, realize that this was AI. And as somebody on the spectrum who is, I write technical writing exceptionally well. I read some of that stuff and I'm like, I that's how I would write it. That's how I would word it. Like, I'm not seeing the AI. Like, I don't have the AI eyes, I guess, but yeah, that would worry me. Like, if I've never written anything for the site, but if I was to do that, I think now in this climate, I would have a concern of, would this get flagged as AI? Because a lot of, like, an SCP article, outside of dialogue, like the meat of an SCP article is a lot of technical writing, like in the true sense of the term technical writing. So I don't know. I think it's good. Like, obviously we don't want AI on the site. Obviously it's part of the rules, and I don't think it's a terrible thing that we're having the conversation. But I share a lot of the same concerns that, be careful. Just don't let it turn into a witch hunt. Be careful.
So what's going on with new skips and tales these last 2 weeks?
In the last 2 weeks, there have been 22 new SCP articles with 3 over 50. Then there's 15 new tales. It's a good ratio.
Yeah.
Any favorites?
I have had a couple favorites these past few weeks. One of them is a new 001 proposal by one of my personal favorite authors, Dave U. Fool. This is actually the third proposal that he's made, and I think it's actually like the last one he said he's ever going to make. It's called Dowd Ewen Fullerton's Proposal, You've Been Awfully Quiet. Essentially, it's more so a tale than an actual like technical written article, but it's split off into essentially 9 chapters following an SCP that is in containment who, for all intents and purposes, just seems like, you know, a chill little guy who the Foundation honestly does treat like shit, but because he's, you know, has a fairly innocent and kind-hearted view of the world, he doesn't know, he doesn't know any better, especially regarding the one rule that he can never talk, he can never make a sound, and that's supposed to be like the most important rule. He has to follow it always. And at the same time, the story showing a sort of end of the world scenario that's going on. It doesn't take place at the same time that we follow this main guy, but it's sort of a story that's kind of unfolding as we read more of it. And of course, it has a lot of Dave's signature, you know, comedic tone with it, but it really does have a lot of heart of, you know, being about the story of someone who really does just want to see the good in the world, who just wants to see the good in people, who just wants to make those he looks up to proud of him. And coming to see that the world is not as good as it is, that a lot of times the people we look up to are not as good as we first thought them to be. In fact, they can be quite horrible people. And it's not until that it's too late that we realize the truth.
Yeah, never meet your heroes.
Sort of, yeah. But yeah, it's a really good story altogether. It features the Three Moons Initiative as being a big player in it. As I think, I forget if this threat is like from Korbanik or, but you know, they do have a big part in this. But yeah, I highly recommend you go read Davy Fool's proposal under Dowd Ewen Fullerton's proposal. You've Been Awfully Quiet. Another that I've really enjoyed was SCP-8801, How a Trans Girl Broke Metaphysics by Cubeseer, which is, you know, from the title, metaphysical SCP, but also dealing with a trans character, since this was written for Pridefest. And essentially, it is following a Foundation attempt to study metaphysics by essentially following an individual since their conception and all the way throughout their life. And notes basically going on that's pretty heartbreaking to read of, you know, this person growing up and, you know, kind of discovering more about themselves, but they come from a very traditional household. So it can be hard to read at some points. But really, I do believe that is the point of it, of giving the experience and feel of what, sadly, more often than not, trans folk do have to go through essentially on a daily basis, especially when it comes to family. But yeah, if you're interested in that, again, that's SCP-8801, How a Trans Girl Broke Metaphysics by Cubeseer. And just the last one that's on my list is a tale by Rounder House called Pride Month, except it's spelled Demon, which is it's essentially of Rounder's character, Director House, essentially making up that he has a whole bunch of like queer folk and like, well, more specifically like queer anomalous dwarves that like work in his site, work for his department, just so that he could pretty much lie and get more grant money and funding from the foundation as a whole for diversity hires.
Yeah.
And then it turns out that like, holy shit, like there are actually anomalous like queer dwarves that are working at my site. It's a fun read. I'm just gonna say that. So yeah, that's Pride Month by Rounderhouse. You can easily find it from the way it's written. Go check that out.
There's a hilarious vignette in there about Director House being the only openly gay site director or something. Who somebody wrote it into their proposal package when they sent it up to the O5s to get the O5s to visit, and they're like, "Yeah, congratulations." And he was like, "Who wrote that? Who put that in there?" That's a great article. So mine isn't one of the new ones. The one that I wanted to bring up with it being Pride Month. This is one of, if not the OG Pride Month article, Overthinking the Rainbow by Dr. Chandra from 2018. I think this was the first year that, and this is some SCP history for everybody. If you haven't read this one, it's just 6 or 7 years old. Go and check it out. It's one of the first, in response to, God, you remember the first year the SCP Wiki changed its logo to the rainbow logo for Pride Month, and Reddit went nuts. This is one of the articles that was written in response to that, and it's a Gears piece, and just some of the quotes from that article. So just to make sure I've got everything straight or clear, rather, we haven't been hacked. We're supportive of gay pride, and our logo is now an inaccurate but ethnically inclusive rainbow. And then another quote is, "Who would name a frog Pepe?" He asked himself quietly. "Nazis." Clef replied from down the hall. Check that out. True. Yeah, over parentheses, Thinking the Rainbow by Dr. Chandra from 2018. Go if you haven't read it, or if you weren't around in 2018, back to first year. The SCP Wiki had that rainbow logo. Go check that out.
Another classic pride-centered SCP that I really enjoy, if we're talking about history. This one was from 2019, to tale more like rainbow capitalism, from author Chewbacca. Not spelled the way you think, but essentially it's like I don't really remember the name for it, but it's like anomalous Twitter of essentially like starting out as like all these like anomalous companies like giving out their tweets like saying, "Oh, Pride Month has started." Yeah,
I remember that one.
Yeah, but then Jude from
Gamers Against Weed.
Yeah, Gamers Against Weed. Basically hacks into it and essentially doxes all these companies for all the bullshit that they pulled against queer and trans employees. Like one of them is like from Iris Dark, one of the heads of MC&D, making a tweet saying that she's proud of coming out as a trans lesbian, being a trans lesbian, and being like, "Oh, I'm living proof that my LGBT siblings can do everything that we put our minds to." And then let me find then her account gets hacked, and a response to that says, "Iris Dark donated over £6 million to homophobic prime ministers because she knew that a Tory government would give her a tax cut. She deliberately removed coverage for transgender healthcare from her employees' benefit packages because it would save her money. Happy Pride Month."
Yeah.
And it's like that for literally all these companies.
all the way down.
Just scathing all the way down. Then they just go on like they hack the official MC&D Twitter, and then it's like giving all these things, and it's fucking thread like being like page 13 of question mark thread, 27 of question mark, and then 45 of going like just a list of shit that they've done over the years, which it's MC&D, so of course they would.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that one. What's it called again?
More Like Rainbow Capitalism.
More Like Rainbow
by Chewbacca. Let's take a break. We'll be back with Offsite News and Mike Vale.
Dr. Gray, what are you doing here?
Intern, I thought no one came to this closet. So this is where I go to read my real crazy fan fiction. And what's that you're reading?
It's, well, you're not dangerous, so I guess I can tell you. This is Confinement. It's a comic series. It's about a guy named Connor who respawns when he dies.
Really? That just sounds like a whole lot of bung to me.
It's absolutely not. It's actually really good, but I've been keeping it a secret for now. I don't want Dr. Bucket to get any ideas on dangerous tests he can make me do. Connor can afford to die, but not me.
Wow, that sounds excitingly veil-breaking. Do you know where I can get one?
Thanks for asking, Monica. All you need to do is look up SCP Confinement Kickstarter, and the pre-order page should be the first result. And even if you can't get in on the pre-orders, the comic will be for sale on the unredacted Etsy store after the Kickstarter ends.
Awesome! I'm already so excited to get mine. Ooh, maybe I can show them to Grim.
I'm Mike, the director of the reboot of the SCP Confinement show. I am working with a team of writers and artists to reboot the show. We are also working with some of the original voice actors, such as Shirky, who originally voiced the character Dr. Powers, and hopefully more in the future.
And Koshi, writer and creative director of the SCP Confinement comic.
We are focused on making the show the best we can. Also, supporters get access to the members-only section of our Discord, being able to talk directly to the team, have priority suggestions, and get episodes up to 24 hours early. All episodes will go to Muckwell on YouTube, along with all previous episodes already being up there.
Thanks to Dado's Donut for Police. Many people are saying to Dado that Dado is making political statement. Dado does not understand this. All Dado is doing is providing avenues for miracle of birth for many fine swine and swine mother. If you like this content, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications for the channel if you're watching on YouTube. That's what the algorithm likes, and it would really help us get the word out about what's going on in the SCP community. If you want to support us beyond that, you can sponsor the show at patreon.com/SCP Weekly for as little as $2 a month.
SCP Fragmented Minds just got an official trailer release as part of IGN's Live 2024, a project that's been nearly 3 years in the making. Discover a thrilling mix of action and survival horror in SCP Fragmented Minds. You awaken the remains of Mars Site 113 after a global catastrophe, but you're not alone, and many of the horrifying anomalies contained here have escaped and are hunting down all the remaining survivors. You can show your support for the game by pledging money on their Kickstarter and following their progress on YouTube. Links will be provided in the show notes.
Might try to get those guys on the show in a couple weeks.
Oh yeah, that would be good.
In the world of podcasts, SCP Archives is continuing covering the ABCs of Death anthology with their most recent episodes, covering SCP-7303, H is for Health by Dicidron, and SCP-7340, I is for Incision by Big Sloth on My Face. You can show your support for them by listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts are played. Follow up on their upcoming episode this Thursday when they cover SCP-7396, J is for Jetsam by Philip.
And if you're also interested in some non-SCP horror, then I personally suggest you check out Mayfair Watcher Society, created by and based on the works of horror artist Trevor Henderson and produced by Bloody FM, the same people who are behind SCP Archives. Reading off the synopsis online, the town of Mayfair is just like any other. Tidy lawns and book clubs, bake sales and Sunday school. And just like any other town, Mayfair has a secret. One that everyone knows, but almost no one says. Along the bus routes and down silent wooded roads, behind the mill and at the dark end of parking lots. At the edge of the porch, just beyond the lamplight, things move in the shadows. But Mayfair is a town like any other, and a secret like this can only stay hidden for so long. Season 2 just premiered on May 30th with their episode Pin Post, with new episodes releasing every other Thursday. So go check them out on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts are played. Cabin Tales has announced its 4th episode for its ongoing 2nd season, Roulette, set to premiere June 27th. Reading from the synopsis, Roderick, Kevin, Sam, Jeremy. High school students, football teammates, best friends in the whole world. And yet, they find themselves locked in a basement. They don't know how or why they're here. All they know is this: a timer is ticking, and a deed must be done. Will you play the game? After all, the power of friendship can't save you from this one. Support Cabin Tales by subscribing and listening to them on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and wherever else podcasts are played.
And speaking of Cabin Tales, here's our guest this week. He's an accomplished voice actor who goes by the online moniker Voice Over Requiem, as well as the co-producer for the horror anthology audio series Cabin Tales. Mike Vale, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Pleasure to be here.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming on. Let's jump right into Fact or Myth. Sorry, Nolan, I stepped on your line.
Yeah, wow, what do you fucking take away my shit, okay?
That never happens.
Yeah, that never happens. No, it's not like Kelsey tries to take control of the entire show.
Ever, never, ever.
Yeah, never. Anyway, before I was rudely interrupted, let's play Fact or Myth. Last week, our guest Hawk gave us these. My mom is Brad Pitt's brother's dog trainer. Or 2, the bit in the tale Hemophobia about the main character passing out at the sight of blood is based on me one time when I got my blood drawn. Which do we think is the fact?
So last week, we all picked blood. All of us.
I think the blood one sounds more likely to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds more plausible. It is not though. His mom actually is Brad Pitt's brother's dog trainer.
That's a mouthful.
Yeah.
Wow.
Cool.
Imagine being bragging about that, though.
Yeah.
Brad Pitt's brother's mom. Wait, say it again, because it's a tongue twister.
Hawk's mom
Brad
is
Pitt's-
Brad Pitt's brother's dog trainer.
There you go. You'll love to see it.
Yeah. And then also from 2 episodes ago, we had Andrea Joshua Asnikar on. Wasn't able to get his answer in time, so his response is his truth was he started filmmaking late. That is subjective to him, but his myth was he likes was it soccer, wine, and
Formula One racing.
MotoGP. Yeah, like all the stereotypical Italian things. He was like, I can't stand any of those things. He was like, I don't even drink. I hate soccer and MotoGP. So that was Andrea's responses as promised.
There you go.
He might be Italian, but he spoke it like a true red-blooded American. Mike, are you ready to give your fact and myth?
Yes, I am.
All right, hit us with it.
So, number 1, I have an extensive butterfly and taxidermied insect collection. And number 2, I stormed the beaches at Normandy in not the sense you think, but I actually was there on June 6th at any given year, going up the beaches, and I broke into a bunker.
Huh. No. Personally,
That was-
yeah.
2 days ago, wasn't it? It was like the 80th
3 days.
anniversary of D-Day. Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, wow. I forgot about that.
kept it topical.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would say that the taxidermied insect collection would have been the truth, but now I don't know. I'm kind of thinking that maybe Normandy is more true than I might have given it credit for. Kelsey, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm going with the weird one on this one. I'm going with Normandy.
Normandy?
Yep, I'm going with Normandy.
Gotcha. Do I confirm my answer now? I tell you which one's true?
No, I'll contact you later on in order for you to just give us the answer. And then listeners can respond to our Twitter poll in the meantime and tell us what you think, and we'll find out the answer next time.
Awesome.
All right. Now, on to the interview portion.
So the first interview question that we have is, how long have you been in the voiceover business? But let me jump back real quick and tell you what I'm aware. I think, were you involved in like a Canadian Star Trek
No.
deal? That wasn't you?
No, not me.
Okay, so I had because you voice acted in a couple of my episodes.
Yep.
And I remember going through like the list of through the cast and kind of looking at what other people did. I thought that was you, but I'm wrong, which I'm known to be from time to time.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
There's several people who share a name with me, which when I started, I wish I had known, because there's another famous Michael Vale who was the Dunkin' Donuts spokesman for many, many years. And he was Fred the Baker. And when somebody brought that to my attention, I was like, oh, can I swear on the show?
Yeah, absolutely.
I was like, oh shit. There's like another voice actor who's got like 1,000 roles, and he's like a well-beloved American icon, but he passed away like 20 years ago. So I was like, I can make up for it. Don't worry. It's cool.
Yeah.
And then there's an Eric Vale who's big at Funimation, who's done like Trunks on Dragon Ball. And so people are like, oh, Vale like that. And I was like, no, that's my name. So it's kind of funny. But to that point, yes, I was on SCP Unredacted. One of my favorite roles that I've done. I was in Your Implicit Door story, and I was also in Amoni Ram. I was the OVCOM, and 0511, and I just love doing stuff like that. The voice I did for 0511 was kind of like Gendo Ikari inspired from Neon Genesis Evangelion, and he definitely struck me as like the Overlord commander. So it was like really cool role that I got to do. So thank you.
Yeah, you're definitely one of the voices that helped make that series what it was. I appreciate you being involved in that.
Always happy to come back or do any other role, even a little throwaway line. Happy to.
Awesome. So how long have you been doing voice?
So officially I started in 2020 during COVID, like everybody else who was stuck inside, needed something to do. Years prior, I had done 2 years of college radio and 3 years of professional AM radio. And that was really cool. I did like your weather and your sports and your traffic update in the morning. And from there, I transitioned to a job in public relations. I used to get attorneys on television, which was pretty substantial, but commission-based, so it wasn't like a solid career path. And now I'm in marketing. I do mass media marketing in New York City, and I've been there for about 10 years. But to answer your question about voice acting, again, it was just, I could do a couple impressions. I can do imitations of JoJo's Bizarre Adventures characters. Let's make something of this while we've got something else to do. And that's where the channel started. And as I branched out on YouTube and Instagram and just met so many other folks who wanted to do different content, I was like, I think there's something here. Let's look into more serious roles. And that's how I got started with like Pocket FM. I did some audiobooks working with folks like you on audiobooks like SCP Unredacted. Got into horror. I did projects like The Walton Files, The Mandela Catalog, just analog horror on YouTube. And it kind of grew like, hey, I'm no longer just like a shit posting voiceover page.
Yeah.
I can like actually go somewhere with this. And I still consider myself like an amateur. First and foremost, I've taken some classes, I have demo reels, but you're always learning in this industry. Like there's always room for improvement, and people get, I don't want to say people get an ego when they get like a big role, but I'm still like, wow, I'm so appreciative. I'm so thankful that I get to do this and just be a part of it and be creative.
So have you ever done any screen stuff?
So I do have a screen role coming up. I can't fully talk about my involvement in it yet, But it is my first live action appearance. It is a horror setting. I'm super excited for that. I'm not showing my face today just because I'm a skittish, shy little person. But the microphone has become kind of the brand. And yes, to answer your question, there is some screen stuff, and I would be open to doing it in the future.
Very cool. And then I have one more question, and it's something that you mentioned. You came out of radio, because I have roots in radio too. Tell me about the weirdest person you met in radio, because there's some weird individuals in radio. You could share the weird person story.
So excuse me. I worked at a small station in upstate New York. I'm in New York City now, and this was a county about maybe a half hour outside of Manhattan. And one of our producers was like the atypical, like, Woodstock wouldn't shut up how he was there. This guy was microdosing every day. He would put like a little droplet in his black coffee. I was convinced. Just talk about how like he could feel the radio waves. AM radio was alive and it was the future. FM is bad juju. Like everything is, he could feel it in his molars. He could feel it in his fillings. And it was just like, boy, I want to be him when I grow up. Like, just, does he know? Is he doing a bit? I don't know. Like every word he said radiated just energy, and he definitely brought an energy to the station in a very, at the time, it wasn't as like remote work, social media casual. Yeah. We're talking like 2010, 2011, still, like the advent of social, the internet. It was still very much like a button-up shirt, tie kind of job to even go in and just kind of like, shock jock on the radio, talk about sports. And he was just kind of always lax. And I was like, he's retired now. He lives back up in Woodstock. So, he was one of the people who was just like, you know what, let your weird side out. Let your freak flag fly. It's just have fun. It's a fun job.
Yeah. Yeah. The weirdo for me was, it is funny that you mentioned like it's a button up, shirt and tie type deal. This guy was combat boots and sweatpants everywhere he went.
Love that.
100%. Like that was his persona, combat boots and sweatpants. Like, and he wound up actually buying his own AM stick. And he was like Rush Limbaugh on steroids, just like uber conservative, old angry Vietnam vet type dude.
Love it.
He was fun. There's so many interesting characters in radio. I'm glad you said that, because man, you just brought back a bunch of memories.
Yeah, and I would love to get back into the radio sphere. I tried during COVID to apply for like XM, but everything's remote and it's really tough to break into an already kind of established field.
Yeah, and anything outside of syndication, like the XM sphere, it doesn't pay shit. Yeah. Well, up there where you are, like in New York, I imagine it's a little bit different. But outside of, I think, major metro areas, I left radio because I was making $16,000 a year, and I just couldn't pay the bills with that.
Yeah, no, it's a fantastic job, and you have a lot of fun with it. But if I was retired and needed something to do, I'd happily hop back on and just do the morning or do whatever I was doing before and just have fun with it. But
it was hands down the most fun I've ever had at a job.
Absolutely.
Hands down.
I agree with you.
My station manager, The Office, right? The American version of The Office with Steve Carell, Michael Scott. That was my station manager. Like magic tricks. I walked into work one day and he was sitting on the roof in a lawn chair with a guitar and a cowboy hat playing on the roof right above the front door. Like, what? Okay, cool. Not even going to question it. Yeah, it's just another Doug day.
The energy in the creative field, especially when it comes to like live broadcast, it's just something else.
Yep.
So next question. You are a co-producer for the series Cabin Tales. Do you want to give us an idea of like how it is that came to be? Like, you work alongside the series creator, Thomas Hale. Do you want to tell us how you guys met, how you got started working on this show?
Sure. I owe a lot to Tom in my involvement with Cabin Tales. He was the one who did the mastering for my commercial and narration audiobook demo reels. And on a whim, Tom was like, hey, instead of just, paying me for this, would you like to voice act in my series, Cabin Tales? And I was like, oh yeah, I would love to. And I had the opportunity to voice alongside folks who've been in like major animes, major video games, people who are well known on Instagram and social spheres. It kind of just happened. And the more I got to know Tom, who again, super fortunate I got connected with through people like Tyler Osborne, big, horror name and, making his own career, super proud of him. Just getting connected with these guys and like, boy, this is awesome. I want to be a part of it. Here is everything I can offer, every resource, every social page. And with my own following, not huge, but like, I'm proud of 43,000 on Instagram at the moment, at the time of recording. It's the type of thing where people say, oh, you do this, you do serious roles, let me check your work out and then let me bolster and support the page. So in tandem with Tom and like the other folks on the project, we've just put our whole heart and soul into this, and this is our child and we want to make it succeed however we can. So it's really cool, and it's a wonderful opportunity to work on this project.
Yeah, I can really see how passionate everyone is when working on the show, because currently on the YouTube page, at least, the show has about 2,600 subscribers, which is horribly underrated, in my opinion. Because it's like the audio quality, and plus the big names that you guys are able to get on the show. Of course, there's like one of my favorites, Gianni. I keep butchering his last name, so I'm not going to try.
I believe it's Matrograno.
Matrograno. Okay.
Sorry, Gianni.
Yeah, Gianni, if you're watching this, we apologize if we butcher your name. You're fantastic. You just got to get an easier name, man. But
don't use Vale. That's already been taken a few times.
Yeah, don't take that one.
Yeah, but no, with Cabin Tales, you guys really go all in with it. There's Gianni. You guys got Solid JJ, who was also a favorite of mine, because I know you appear on his videos a lot too.
Yes.
And I'm trying to remember on the not this recent episode, but the episode before that.
Nick Wolfhard.
Yes, Nick Wolfhard.
Yeah. We've gotten some, again, let me just put it out there that Tom is a force of nature, and I know he's going to be listening to this, and I don't mean to gas him up, but I am going to gas him up because this guy, the audio is Tom, the recruiting is Tom, for the most part, the writing is Tom. We do have a couple, Solid JJ just wrote the last episode, The Midnight Hour, and fantastic writing, but Tom writes the majority of the scripts. There's other folks like Mike Collins and, other folks who have written, like Lily Vinning. Sorry, Lily, I don't know how to pronounce your last name. Ty's girlfriend.
We're just butchering everyone's names here.
Yeah, this is just the last name Butcherfest. I mean, Vale is easy, but I have gotten that mispronounced as well. But Tom has definitely assembled the Avengers of horror, as I like to put it, between the artist and just the cast and his own audio mixing and proficiency. It's truly an awesome project to work on.
Yeah, Tom seems like a really incredible guy to work with. From the little bit that I've seen about him on his Twitter, and a little bit on the Cabin Tales Discord, which we will also give a link to our listeners in the show notes for anyone interested in that. He just seems like a very approachable, very sweet individual who's just insanely passionate about this whole thing, about what he does, and
Absolutely.
it's really incredible to see people like that in this industry of just just really having an idea of what they want to make and just fucking going for it, and just all cylinders, no stopping.
Yep.
That's very admirable.
When you get the taste and you know that what you're sitting on is a project that's worthwhile of your time, you got to go for it. The way I quantify my own work is first make it for yourself and then make it for the audience. And, if the audience is whatever, I think algorithms have really beat people down to the point where oh, I'm a shitty content creator. I'm not good. I should just give up. And it's no, don't let Instagram or YouTube win. Make the content and they will come. You never know, down the line, A big example I always look at, David Harbour. He was 43 when he got his start in Stranger Things, and that was his big breakout role. And I'm 32, and I'm just like, oh man, it's over. Like, I got all these 20-somethings who are like, going into Crunchyroll and this. Like, no, fuck that. Keep at it, work hard, put in the effort, put in the sweat, put in the blood, and you will make something that you're proud of first.
Yep.
And then the audience will come. And that's something that Cabin Tales is. Not to cut you off, but continue.
The format that you're in, too, you can make that content and put it out there, and even if it doesn't get successful in the first year or two, it's still out there. And then all of a sudden, you did the work 3 years ago, and somebody picks it up and they're like, this is the best thing ever, and then you go viral.
Yeah, I've had that happen on TikTok. I have a TikTok presence, but I'm like super lazy, and lazy in the sense that I run an Instagram, a YouTube, and have a day job. But I don't also post to TikTok. And somebody told me, hey, this Microsoft Excel post that you posted went viral audio-wise, and people are reusing it. I was like, it's not even posted there. What are you talking about? And it's just like 80,000 reshares of this audio that I never personally uploaded. I'm like, what the hell? So that's just the power. Like, you never know when something's just going to get picked up. And marketers go nuts with that kind of thing. Because
they're back to real quick radio story. I know you've seen the clip, or you've heard the clip of what's the guy's name that played McLovin on Superbad?
Oh, God.
Have you seen the clip where he's in the booth and he's like, damn, son, where'd you find that?
Yes.
I know what you're talking about.
That voice, the guy who's actually saying, damn, son, where'd you find that? When I was on radio, I was the lunchtime guy. That was the afternoon guy on the station that I was at.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah. And I saw that, and it was years after that whole McLovin post went viral, and I was like, is that Shadow? That sounds like Shadow.
That's awesome.
And then I went down in the comments, and somebody was like, actually, this is Shadow Hayes. And I was like, that's Shadow. Holy shit. I haven't heard that voice for damn near 20 years, and he's still doing voice stuff.
Damn, son, where'd you find this at?
Damn, son, where'd you find this at? And that's now his catchphrase. If you go to his website, it's just damn, son everywhere. He's got damn, son t-shirts.
That's
damn,
incredible.
Son. Yeah.
I love that.
Talking about like going into voice acting, like really just kind of going for what you want in this career, is that like it's a little bit for me too, because I'm currently 26, going to be 27 in a few months, and I have started out in the last year as being like an amateur voice actor. Had a few roles here and there, mainly just getting lucky, but still feeling very like appreciative that it's like I'm actually able to do this at all. Of being like, people, telling me for a long time, saying like, oh, you got a voice for a radio. It's saying like, oh, you could be good at this. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, I could be decent at it. And then really just out of nowhere, getting an opportunity and just having that feeling of like, holy shit, I could actually do this. But then also having that feeling of like, oh God, what if it's like not for me? Like, oh God, what if I'm, gonna get outshined? Like you're saying how it's like, oh, you're 32, saying like, oh, you're getting outshined. I'm 26 and I feel that way. Like seeing people in like just several years younger than me, like 22, 23, and seeing people like one of the Cabin Tales voice actors, Andrea, who shout out to her real quick. She's a phenomenal voice actor. Anyone who's listening, hire her for more projects. Seeing that and like seeing all these people and just having that feeling of like, oh, am I not a good fit for this? Am I not good enough for this? And it's really a time of just wanting to psych yourself up, of being like, I know it seems nervous and difficult, and it likely will be for a good part of it.
Yeah. But
you're never going to know how much you're actually capable of unless you go forward with this. And I really do believe that like someone like Thomas is very much an example of that. I don't know if he has any of those thoughts, because he seems like a very confident guy. I'm very jealous of him for that. But he he knows what he wants. He's going all cylinders for it, and he created something what I think is like really special with the show, and bringing you and everyone else on board. It's amazing to see.
That I agree. And just to start with your first point, I mean, there have been times where I've auditioned for things and people are like, great audition, great read. You're in series that I've heard of. I don't want you in my series. And I'm just like, why? And I'm like, I don't want that fandom series to come over to mine. And like, you know, that's the reason why they're watching it. And I'm like, okay, that's fair. But you know, you never know. I've auditioned for things that have had like 100 auditions on them. I'm like, fuck it, throw my hat in the ring. Who knows? And I've gotten picked. And I'm just like, you know, Wayne Gretzky, you miss 100% of the shots you don't take. Just like go for it. Don't be your own critic. Criticize yourself in the sense that self-improvement is first and foremost, but don't like put yourself down. Don't say you can't. And even if you think you may not be the perfect fit, you don't know what that director's looking for. You don't know what the director's thinking, and you certainly don't know how it's going to hash out and who you're up against. And it's like the social media kind of like lens where, yes, this person's living the photo perfect Instagram life, but you don't know what's behind the camera. Mm-hmm. Same with recording. You don't know what kind of advantages you may have or what voice you can bring or what they may be familiar with in terms of your resume. So I'm very fortunate of the projects I've worked on. SCP Unredacted, for instance, was one of the projects I cited when I was trying to get work with Pocket FM, which is a audiobook company, and they loved that. You know, they loved Kelsey's just flow and the style of the recording. Like, yes, your voice is great. You worked in an environment. So it's all, just like with any job, it's all about your resume and just taking it where you can get it, but not being hard on yourself, but being constructive with yourself, because you're going to be your own best friend first, and you're going to be your first critic first and foremost, but don't put yourself down and take yourself out of the fight. And you've got time. Everyone's got time. You know, there are people that I know who've started doing audiobooks at 70 years old. So everyone can make it in some way, shape, and form, and they will, as long as they put their heart into it.
Yeah, you know, I got to say, Mike, you kind of just lit a fire in me by saying that, because I'm a little discouraged, not necessarily discouraged, but like I kind of feel like it's time to move on. And looking back at SCP Unredacted, you're at least the third person who has said that. Amanda McKnight, who we've had on this show, has used her appearances on SCP Unredacted as demo reels and has gotten roles from using her unredacted appearances as demo reels. And then Nolan, one of your fellow SC peeps, Cassandra Haswell, also came on SCP Unredacted and sort of had the same story. So Mike, you're the third person. I might need to just get back into Casting Call Club and script up some more those kinds of episodes. Yeah, I know Cassie would be happy about that. It's just so much damn work.
No, I feel that. And it's the type of thing where you go ahead, you sit down, you make this beautiful series, and then it gets like 1,000 views, and you're just like, well, what the fuck am I doing this for? Yeah. But it's those kind of stories that I like to share, and I tell creators how thankful I am to be in their project. Like, just, you know, some folks who've given me my start where I just thought, oh, I'm going to make like shitty iMovie memes, and that's going to be the end of it, and I'm going to burn out. Then time and time again, I've had people who, you know, from all walks of life, from the cosplay community, from voice acting, from just like comedy in general, who have been encouraging and very supportive. And like, Nolan, to your earlier point, you've got a voice for radio. I had heard that for years. And then I was like, all right, you know what? I'm going to do college radio. And then people at college radio, they were like, hey, do an internship here. And then I got a full-time job. And then I had to, you know, I moved on like an idiot. But to Kelsey's earlier point, money is a big factor when it comes to this kind of thing. The folks who can do this full time, I appreciate and I respect you, but it is a tough industry. I know folks who will do thousands of words for a IMDb credit and no pay. And it's like, this is tough. And it's like, yes, it's your passion, but unfortunately, passion doesn't pay the bills. And that is a harsh reality of it. But you've got to do what you love, because once this becomes just another job, then that's it. You're just going to be like, well, I got to go into the voice acting mines and I got to dredge up a bunch of voice acting, and what's the point? You know, So to hear that I've kind of lit a fire warms me.
Thank you.
And I know I've seen what you can produce, and it's awesome. And I think if you keep at it, when you feel up for it, don't feel like you have to.
Yeah.
But when you feel up for it, you make it again for yourself. Be proud of your work, which I know you are, and then go from there and really kick ass.
Yeah, we'll do that. It reminds me of I was watching a Rodney Dangerfield clip from the Johnny Carson Late Show, and he was talking about the break. Right, everybody's looking for the break. You gotta have the break, and that's sort of the SCP Unredacted or other shows like that where we have people come on, and it wasn't you, but there is another voice actor. I don't remember exactly which voice actor it was, but they're involved in this Star Trek series, this Canadian-based Star Trek series. Now it's like audiobook, and a reminder that just because you haven't caught your break yet, the project that you're working on could be somebody else's break.
Exactly. One of the big examples I point to is the series Five Nights at Freddy's, which was just kind of indie casted, not really known name yet. The voice actors weren't really known, and Kellen Goff, who is one of my favorite voice actors in the industry, got his start. He had been acting adjacent, but like that was one of his big breakout roles, and now he's like a household name. So you never know that casting call club call where it can go. That Voices 123 email can go. Hell, even like I get a lot of my work from Twitter and the voice acting Discord run by Kira Buckland and you never know which project is going to like take off and blow up. So just if you think you're a good fit, audition for it. Even if you don't think you're a good fit and you fit the role of what the director's looking for in terms of casting and voice and just overall scope, go for it. Just go for it.
Yep. And from the director's perspective on the casting, it's not necessarily because you as a voice actor may be auditioning for something, and even the director will hear your voice and say, that's not what I had in mind, but it fits with these other characters. Because that's the other thing the director is thinking, is not just is this voice the character, but how do all of these voices work together? Because I could have somebody that's a perfect fit for this character, but the other characters I'm not able to get the perfect fit for the vision, and now I have to shift what I need for this character, and all of a sudden the voice who isn't the perfect fit for the character is the perfect fit for the cast.
Right.
And so that's another thing. They just put it out there, Nolan, like just audition. Like if you could sit down in an evening and crank out 10 auditions a day, just Monday through Friday, you're putting out 50 auditions a week. You're going to pick up some roles eventually. And then those roles become experience. Those roles become network. Those roles become eventually, if you're doing 50 a week, then you're going to get a break.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
Believe in yourself and believe in us because we believe in you.
Believe in the us that believes in you, that believes in something.
Has anyone really been far even?
To transition off that point, to round it out with Cabin Tales, the last story, The Midnight Hour, which was directed by Tom and Solid JJ, written by Solid JJ. It's a two-man show with me and Tom Schalk, who voices Tommy Valentine, and I voice Cliff. I'm not going to say who Cliff is, but it's a spoiler. But I'm more comfortable doing like, hey, see, I'm the New York gangster. I'm gonna bust your face open with the show. I'm more comfortable doing that. And it's really funny because this is my normal speaking voice, but people always expect me to talk like this, stick 'em up, partner, like that. Because that's more like my audiobook kind of voice. But JJ wanted me to do Cliff, and Cliff sounds more like this. He's more ambivalent, and he's kind of weak and frail, and it's not a voice that I was like super familiar with. And it was something that wasn't necessarily something I considered in my wheelhouse of things I could do and hold. That's another thing with voices, like, you gotta hold it. You can do an impression, but like when I do my Obama, I can hold it for pretty much forever. But if I'm doing like Trump or someone, I can't hold it. I don't do a good Trump. The voice fades, it becomes other people. It's not huge. It's very bad. But like
you got to
Cliff,
be able to come back to it too.
you got to come back to it. That's the thing. See, now the voice is different than what I just did 10 seconds ago because I'm laughing. But like Cliff was not a voice that I was able to hold for a long period of time. And I've also got a deeper register. So like to kind of keep it at that light and airy, kind of weaker, angelic type voice was something that JJ and I jumped into a Discord call. And for like 2 hours, he coached me and just said, here's the line, let's go over it. And he goes, I guarantee you when this is over, we're going to have gold. And I'm so proud of that episode. And just working with Tom and working with JJ. And just, I think we really knocked it out of the park on that particular episode. Not to toot my own horn, but I think we really did a fantastic job. Every episode in Cabin Tales is just a knockout. But these are my experiences, so I'm going to shine a spotlight on myself and go from there. Everyone else has gotten applause. I need some too, you know? Thank you.
Yeah, come on. Yeah. Everyone, tell in the comments below. Tell Mike how much you love him.
We love you, comments.
Yeah.
Well, just put it into perspective. You're the only one that's got invited to SCP Weekly, so.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it.
Yeah. Yeah, depends if, Thomas sees this and decides, hey, I want to get a shot too.
We'll put it out there. Manifest it. Make it happen.
Yeah. Okay.
Oh, ask the question we hate. Ask it.
Yeah, I got it. We all hate this question, but, it's kind of the theme of the show. But do you have a favorite SCP?
I do have a favorite SCP, and I anticipated you guys asking me this question. My favorite is SCP-458, which is the pizza from Little Caesars. I believe it, depending on the situation, it generates different toppings, and it goes in line with the more harmless SCPs. Those are something always about them that just kind of made it funny, because I just imagine like super covert organization, and then they're just doing the most mundane shit with like a pizza. And it's like, how did you even figure that? Like who, how, when? And that's like such a wonderful ongoing recurring theme about SCP, which, to talk about SCP, I could be here all day. I started, back in high school, like 2009, we were on the website, and we're talking like when it was like 0 to 300. Like that's how much it's grown over the years. And it's one of these ongoing entities that a lot of people know about, but for the most part, it started to get like video game attention. I know a couple short films. I know, obviously, people are doing audiobooks and podcasts based on it, which is awesome. But it's one of those things that it's like, it's always been out there. Everyone knows about it, and everyone can talk about it. And like SCP-682, everyone seems to know about him. Why? It's just the zeitgeist of the internet. Sometimes people just know things. So yes, I love that pizza, and I would love to generate some goofy toppings with it. I loved that question. People hate that question.
Yeah. Well, because a lot of people, especially the people that we interview, are authors in the SCP, and they're like, even I can't tell you my favorite SCP because I like so many of them. I can't say, well, this is my favorite this kind, and this is my favorite of this type, and this is my favorite of this type. But to nail it down to one, can't. If I had to pick another one, it'd be the tape of Reagan where his like eyes are bleeding. I just think that's so goofy. And what's your favorite Cabin Tales episode?
Ooh,
I won't get mad.
Sadly, it's not one that I remember is you in it. But I would say it comes down between two episodes, and both of them are actually Gianni based episodes. It's either episode 6 from season 1, Storm Warning, or the 2-part Christmas special, Underneath the Christmas Tree.
Do you want to know a fun fact?
What?
I'm in both of those episodes.
Oh shit, I forgot.
I am the sports announcer in episode 6.
That's right, yes.
And Tom was like, just give me like a baseball rundown. And I remember ad-libbing some lines, and I'm like, Jason Hernandez, kid from Milwaukee, just came up from the minors, now he's in the majors. And then it's like, okay, we're getting a storm warning. And then like in the in the recording, I go, Tom, is this real? And it's like cut off at the end because I wanted it to be like realistic, as if I was calling out to Tom himself. And he kept it in the recording, which is one of my favorite things that he's done with the series. And I played the judge in the Christmas episode.
That's right. I forgot you were the judge.
And I've told that to people, and they're just like, I loved your episode, the Midnight Hour. And I said, well, I've been in the series in 4 separate episodes, because in episode 2, I sound more like a Southern sheriff type deal, and I talk, all right, everything's cool. And then I do the broadcasting voice in episode 6, and Judge Perry is like kind of very monotone. He's like, the state of Michigan against whoever. And then Midnight Hour, I sound totally different. And that's the joy of voice acting, because people don't know it's me. And then I'm like, actually, that is me. Gotcha.
Yeah, like the start of part 2 on the Christmas special of like, I just like, now that I remember it, like, you did really good with that part. With like, after like the crash, like, I'm assuming that like the judge gets like flown out from the window that I remember because he didn't have a seatbelt on.
So for your listeners out there, in episode 2 of the Christmas special for Cabin Tales, it starts, to Nolan's point, this judge is taken hostage by someone, won't say who, you gotta go listen to episode 2 of Cabin Tales Christmas special. He gets taken hostage in his car with a gun put to his head. The judge doesn't put his seatbelt on. He stops the brake suddenly, and the judge is flung from the window, tossed into a snowbank with several broken ribs and bones, and he is just wheezing. And during that recording, a lot of people have said, wow, it sounds like you were really in agony. I was in agony. I had RSV during that recording session.
Shit.
So that coughing and wheezing, that like, where I'm just like, please, you gotta, like, it's actually backed up by real like mucus in my throat and real lung damage. I was like actually genuinely sick. And I think it made for a better performance. But don't ask me to do it again, because it hurt.
Now I'm just gonna go back, listen to that, and the start part where you're saying like, I don't want to die. It's like, oh, Mike was actually saying that. Like, that wasn't an act.
my throat was actually red and ragged, and I was actually feeling like death. So, fun fact.
Yeah.
All right. So favorite voiceover role that you've ever done?
Oh, that's a really tough one, because I, to immediately dance around your question, I'm just so happy and thankful to do everything I've done. If I'm talking like favorite voice role overall, that's tough. I love the stuff I've been in with Solid JJ. If I had to name one, the Yogi Bear stuff is just absolutely the top. I'm going to do it this way. Comedy, it's got to be JJ. Horror-wise, it's a tie between Cabin Tales and Jude Murray in the Mandela Catalog. Definitely my favorite horror role that I've been in, just because anyone unfamiliar with that role, I play a father named Jude Murray something's happened to his family. There's an evil entity in the house, and that role, I was actually in my closet crying, trying to get this panicked 911 call out of me, and I based it on a real video of a woman who got attacked on a 911 call, which is a horrifying fact to share, but it is true because you get your inspiration from the strangest places, and it was just a YouTube video I pulled up. But I remember I had afterwards, Alex asked, "Are you okay?" And I was like, "Nah, I haven't been okay for a long time, man." But that's the type of thing where it's like method acting really comes out.
Method acting. Oof. I did. I can't remember which SCP it was, but it was the one with the Muppets, like the Muppet band of the Nazi killing Muppets from hell, literally Nazi killing. Anyway, Jim Henson is in that, and I watched Jim Henson YouTube videos and listened to those as I drove around in my car for 2 hours trying to get into Jim Henson. And then I got stuck in Jim Henson for like 2 weeks. I was going to work talking like Jim Henson. And
I love that. That was like me growing up with The Simpsons. I used to be able to do far more impressions than I can now. But that's one of the pieces of advice I tell people. Like, watch TV, watch YouTube clips, just consume a lot of media, which is a weird tip to give people, but you never know. Like Rodney Dangerfield, you brought him up earlier. Mm-hmm. I get no respect. I used to be able to do a really good Dangerfield. And he's the type of voice where you never know when that voice could be applied to a character, because most folks in the Zoomer generation, they probably don't know who that is. So if you do a Rodney Dangerfield impression for a really goofy character, you could say, all right, cool, that works just as well. I used to do this voice for a guy named Okuyasu on JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, and now I'm using that voice for another horror series. And you never know where that voice will be applied in the future. So watch TV, consume. I don't want to encourage brain rot, but at the same time, it's a good way to practice.
Anything specific you want to promote?
Cabin Tales. Definitely go check out Cabin Tales. You can find us on wherever you can listen to a podcast, YouTube, Spotify. I believe we're on Apple Podcasts or whatever Apple's equivalent of that is. A bunch of other spots, but that's all on the link tree or whatever Tom's got posted on the community page. I'll plug myself. You can follow me pretty much anywhere you're on social media, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter. I'm not calling it X, it's Twitter. voiceover_requiem. And that's a JoJo's reference for anybody who's wondering where the name came from. Requiem, Golden Experience Requiem is one of the stands in Part 5 that Giorno uses, and I really liked it, so I based the name on it. And there we go.
I wondered where that came from.
Yeah, it's a JoJo's reference, because I used to do just JoJo content, and then I was like, you know what? After almost 2 years of this, I'm bored. So I branched out and I started doing whatever I wanted.
Yeah, for some reason now I want to go back and read like a specific SCP 5555, because that's the title of it is literally Made in Heaven.
Oh, I love it. Made in Heaven is...
yeah.
Don't get me started on JoJo, because I will talk about it all day. Like, that's... If there's one role actually, I want, it's that.
Yeah, or actually, better yet, I'll probably go back and read the SCP Death Knife, which is literally just basically a JoJo stand. Have you read that one?
I'm not familiar with that one.
I can link it to you. I think you'd really enjoy
Please do.
it. Essentially, it's just this guy who's like a typical fucking weeb who's like kind of going nowhere in his life. He's like kind of has the vibes of being a bit of a creeper, but he's given the opportunity of a lifetime when he buys like an ornate Japanese like dagger that he didn't know was also possessed by the spirit of an ancient long dead samurai who essentially becomes bonded to him and works with him via stand power, like he's a JoJo's protagonist. And he literally becomes so effective with using the knife and working in synchronicity with the ghost samurai that he literally is picked up by the Foundation, originally is contained, but then is made captain of his own MTF unit because he's actually revealed to be so effective using it.
I love that. That almost sounds like Anubis from Part 3 of JoJo, where I think it's a sword that the sword is the stand, but anybody who wields it becomes possessed by the sword. So that's cool. I really dig that. Like, again, SCP takes on like so many characteristics, but it also inspires so much as well. You know, it's just this ongoing titan of a franchise that really no one has singular claim to, which is what I love about it. You know, it is an entity in itself, just this ever growing, ever expanding mass of just creative knowledge that is like the self-contained everything of the people who contribute to it. So that's terrifying in its own way.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And it changes. The community itself changes as the people change. I mean, it's definitely changed since it first started, but you can see, you know, the gradual changes and evolution of the community over the years.
Yep, absolutely. It's gone from like, I don't want to say like a ramshackle indie production, because the early stuff is still really solid, but it has just grown into just this overreaching entity that is just incredible. And the community, massive props to them for just the growth and the original ideas that just keep coming out of it. Like there's a random function on the SCP website, and you'll get lost there. You'll be there forever just reading. And the backstories, like the subplots with the doctors and just the agency itself, going against the US government, going with the evil UN organization. There's so much that SCP has to offer, and it's, I don't want to say untapped, but like the tap has barely gone into the barrel.
Yep.
You know?
Yeah. There is like a like new stories and like new canons being made all the time, I got reminded of a new canon that's being created by wiki author Nicole Quantum. Essentially, like it's the whole idea that the Foundation, mostly whenever they appear, is like very like morally gray. Like, yeah, they try to work for the greater good, but they do some really shady and actually evil shit sometimes in order to get that done. But it's a canon of essentially, what if the Foundation really actually was the good guys? Set in like after World War II just ended, you know, in the main timeline, they like work with the U.S. government to, you know, basically do some shit. But you know, the Foundation actually gains a moral compass, and they're like, no, we're not actually going to do that anymore. We don't want to hurt anyone, and so the American government cuts all funding to the Foundation, which, you know, being one of their biggest financial supporters, that's kind of a bad thing for them. So they basically become like a non-profit and essentially work, while all still containing, they actually try more so to help anomalies instead of like just keeping them locked up for the rest of eternity.
I love that. That's such a cool concept.
Yeah, because I like the implications that I could go with that, of like, not just with the GLC being more so maybe the main powerhouse, but even like little like lesser kind of known or recognized anomalous groups, specifically in this case the FBI's Unusual Incidents Unit, which, for those who don't know, the UIU is essentially the American government's response to anomalies, except they're fucking horrible at it. They're like the laughingstock of the anomalous world from just how far behind they are everyone in like knowledge and like actually being equipped for it. And it gives me like the implication of like, oh, if the government's not funding, you know, billions of dollars towards the Foundation, maybe they funnel it towards their own organizations. Like the UIU in this canon could actually become like a major player instead of being like incredibly efficient and well funded and actually capable of handling this shit.
That's a really neat concept, and I just love how people will come up with those kind of canons to just expand on this ever-growing lore. So,
oh yeah,
props to that.
Now that we have the interview out of the way, do we have any mail?
We do, but first you have to say the thing.
God damn it. Okay. Has anyone really been far, even as decided to use even go want to do look more like?
Yes.
Yes, exactly. That was from Phyrexian Hollow on Twitter. Thank you for doing that.
Phyrexian, I did my homework and there is a response to that. You've got to be kidding me. I've been further even more decided to use even go need to do look more as anyone can. Can you really be far even as decided half as much to use go wish for that? My guess is that when one really been far even as decided wants to use even go want, it is then that he has really been far even as decided to use even go want to do look more like. It's just common sense.
It really is. And again,
no,
that was
not thank you for that, Phyrexian Hollow. Fuck you for that.
Yeah, honestly, fuck you.
That's
everything you ever send us. Everything you ever send us, just fuck you for it, man.
We love you.
He's giving you like some vocal warm-ups. I mean, that was impressive. Well done.
Yeah.
We love you anyway, Phyrexian. Go drink some more.
Yeah. And now for actual mail that we've gotten. Favorite YouTuber to watch in your free time, from Fern. Thanks, Spikle. So for me, I don't know. It depends. Usually for comedy, I just kind of watch Solid JJ. And, you know, just kind of promoting a bunch of, you know, Cabin Tales cast right now. But yeah, Solid JJ is kind of my go-to for comedy, because it's on the surface, it seems very simple, of just like, you know, picture stills and then just like text on a screen that's just being read in audio. But it's really effectively well done. JJ does for his brand of comedy, like a bunch of Justice League videos that are absolutely fucking hilarious. My favorite is probably the what's it called? When they're basically taken in by the cops and are basically interrogated. And Gianni is also in it, and he's just given like the narrator voice of like those true crime documentaries where it's like, someone's being interrogated and there's a narrator basically like giving out every single detail and intricacy of like studying this criminal and everything.
You know who else is in that video?
You.
Yeah. I'm one of the cops interviewing. I think I'm interviewing Batman. I don't remember offhand. But Gianni does a fantastic job in that video.
How many of the Robins have died? All of them. Every single one.
Yeah, it's his destiny. All of them.
Yeah.
For me, I've been watching a lot of Dr. Justin Sledge's channel. It's called Esoterica. If you're into that stuff, he's a professor of philosophy, I think, with a minor in religious studies, and he goes through all of the weird, strange stuff, like the Christian mysticism back in the 1500s, the Salem witch trials, like all the things that really happened from a scholarly perspective, and he doesn't fluff it at all. I love his channel. It's called Esoterica. And then a lot of the Master Key Society, that's just a bunch of old books that the society gets together. They fund audiobook readings, so you can listen to books that were written late 1800s, early 1900s, stuff that you'd never pick up or never see any other place. And then when I just need the feel-good fix, I'm going to go back to 2006, 7, 8, somewhere in that time frame. I think it was a Hank and Jed show, like the Battlefield guys, but Duralius and Associates. I can pick up Duralius and Associates anywhere in the series and just go from there and laugh my ass off at the things that they're doing. And if you haven't heard of it or seen it or check it out, it is addicting from the first episode. Be careful. But it's called Duralius and Associates. But you, Mike?
I've got an eclectic mix. I mean, some of my idols are just Team 4-Star. Those guys over there with Dragon Ball Z Abridged and all their ongoing projects. They're part of the reason I started just kind of riffing and making monologue bits with my friends. And that they were active. They're still active now, but like 2012, I think. So I was college, maybe a little earlier. Someone could date check me on that. But Team 4-Star was definitely one of like the cornerstones of getting me started. So I really appreciate them, and I've had the chance to work with them actually through, not directly, but through JJ, like in the same Dragon Ball video. And it's so cool to go back to my high school buddies and be like, "Yo, no, I work with Kaiser Neko and Lanny Pator," and it's like, "Holy shit, that's crazy!" And it's like, saying that I was just in something with people that I had looked up to is really cool. So other channels that I had watched, my favorite streamer is a guy named Neocranium. He's just a dude who plays video games, yells a lot, so I identify with him as well. I like History Matters. That's a really great YouTube page. Just quick little infographics about random events in history. I'm a big Call of Duty guy, so I love people who do like weapon montages and that kind of thing. And I'll just watch your crazy little edits. And yeah, that's not the most exciting array, but that's what I got. Oh, and Eckhart's Ladder. I'm a huge Halo and Star Wars fan. So Eckhart's Ladder, he does same kind of like video analysis, 10, 20 minutes of just like, the Acolyte or the recent Star Wars movie. He'll do like a Halo breakdown. Who would win, the Empire or the UNSC? Which ship, pound for pound, would win? Could the U.S. military defeat a Star Destroyer? Really fantastic channel, Eckhart's Ladder. Definitely recommend him. So if you like sci-fi, what if? One of my favorites.
Very cool. Eckhart's Ladder. I'll need to check that out.
Yeah, definitely check him out. Love his stuff.
This is from the inbox. This is a UPS contacting you regarding a recent shipment. The driver was unable to find the address listed on the package. Please double check that Kelsey's Glorious Beard, wherever it is, Delaware 8675309 is the correct address. Thanks, SPC, a subsidiary of UPS. Lol, hope y'all are doing well. Question: favorite dessert? Favorite desert? Thanks, Hollow and the Baconators. That's Phyrexian Hollow again.
I'm gonna go basic for favorite desserts and just say chocolate ice cream. Like it's simple, but it's like it's really gives a good taste of childhood, you know. As for favorite desert, I live basically in a desert, so none of them are my favorites. Fuck them.
Favorite dessert for me, it's got to be a tie between cookies and cream ice cream and peach cobbler. I can't make up my mind between the two of those. And then my favorite desert, I've only been to two. I've been to the Arabian Desert. It's kind of a shithole, and the Mojave Desert. I'd have to pick the Mojave between the two.
It almost makes you wish for a nuclear winter.
No, it doesn't.
I understood that reference.
I understood that reference. Excellent. Dessert-wise, I absolutely love. There's a chain out here called Carvel. I think it's nationwide at this point, but they do like a vanilla soft serve with Reese's peanut butter cups. I don't know if you consider a Reese's peanut butter cup a dessert on itself, but like in the ice cream, like I could eat a bag of those if I hated myself, and I would. Love that candy, love that ice cream. But favorite desert, I'd have to pick the Sonoran Desert in the southwest corner of the country into Mexico, just because it is the classic desert with your cactus and your red rock, and I think that's a really solid choice.
Just makes you want to walk around whistling.
Exactly, just the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Well, that's all we have for this week. Thanks all so much for joining us. Thanks to our patrons, Arsfel, Lack of Lepers, Ian Anderson, Evan McDonald, and Oni Mass Productions for supporting us on Patreon. Intro and outro music was Caught You at the Perfect Time by Superintendent McCupcakes. Thanks to Mike Vale for spending time with us. Thanks, Mike.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks, Mike.
SCP Weekly is distributed by Smooth Cadence Productions. SCP Weekly is not affiliated with the SCP Foundation Wiki, and as such, the opinions presented in this program are our own and do not necessarily reflect those of the Wiki or its staff.
Music is provided by Epidemic Sound.
That may be the most professional that's ever been said on this show.
Thanks.
Yeah, it's certainly the most erotic.
Epidemic Sound. You know you got good sound when it's an epidemic.
Call your grandma.
Call your grandma.
Content relating to the SCP Foundation, including the SCP Foundation logo, is licensed under Creative Commons Sharealike 3.0, and all concepts originate from the SCP Wiki and its authors. This recording, being derived from this content, is also released under CC by SA 3.0. Now that the lawyers are happy, until next time, I'm Kelsey.
And I'm Nolan. The K is silent. And this was SCP Weekly.
Peace.
Many I've been here before, made it out of 11 more, like my frontal cortex sore. I can't stop, I want it all. Listen up, I'm calling you. I need you to tell the truth. Remember when you wanted to. Remember that I said was you. Turn and eat your greens. When you fight, but you do be clean. Then you come to the bed and you love real dirty. It's everybody sweater drops, you're real keen. Bring it, let me get your juiciest piece. Can't remember when I've had the same please. The shops of the club never had no boundary. How's it gonna be? You wanna eat these centipedes? Where we gonna go? You're gonna need these calories. Giving me a treat to refill these batteries. Then you only them on your knees, there's no way to dream. Ooh, it's sneaking up on you. There's nothing you can do. There's things about the boom. Sneaking up on you, there's nothing you